it's Michelle. Welcome to day 4 of our week in wellness. Today I wanted to talk to you about morning routines, evening routines, and I was curious if you guys have some that you follow. I think I'd started probably with an evening routine more than a morning routine, but these last few months I've been implementing things that I've been learning from people that have been helping them, and I love when you can kind of trial and error stuff and see what works for yourself, because not everything's going to work for each of us, right? We all have different times we wake up, different schedules, different obligations, different things, but I think the common denominator between all of it is just finding some time to wake up without throwing yourself directly into the stress and ending your day kind of the same way. So I just thought I'd go through a little bit of my winding down routine and my morning routine to see if there's anything in there that you can take away and maybe implement into your own days to help just bring a little bit more peace and relaxation, preparation for sleep, and vibrancy to your day. So let's get started. The evening routine I've been doing for a while. I ended up with a really serious problem with my hormones really early on, and one of the big signs for me with that was the inability to sleep and the inability to stay asleep. So before I knew, or right in the start when I was kind of learning what was happening to me, we had had a huge stressful event in our life. We had lost our business over 20 years. We lost our house. We lost 5 family members. They just kind of passed away one after the other within a 2-year period. And it was a lot of stress. The kids were a lot younger. I think it's been, since the end of all that situation, it's been about 5 years now. So they're much older now, but then they were still little when it all started. And I was always used to not sleeping, but I didn't realize the impact that was going to have on my life later. Those hours of staying up late and trying to watch TV and get my own time because the kids were demanding. I mean, it's a thing. I know you guys have gone through that too, or some semblance of it, where the day's done, they're finally asleep, and you're breathing a little bit, where you can study, read, watch a movie, just kind of veg out for a little bit and feel like it's your own time. But then late into the night, 12, 1 o'clock, you're finally going to sleep, and then you start your day all over again by 6 a.m. I don't know if that's what you've done, but I know that that has been a time in my life. And over time, that wears and tears on you. And once we hit that stressful event, I believe wholeheartedly that all that stress, all that emotion tucked down inside just wreaked a little havoc in my body. And so I was dealing with perimenopausal symptoms around age 42. And by the time I was about 46, 47, my period was completely gone. So a little personal information, but it's part of that story. Amidst that journey, I wasn't sleeping even when I wanted to, and I was beginning to get really, really exhausted. So working with doctors, working with a naturopathic doctor, I was able to find ways to kind of chill myself down, because what it felt like was like my anxiety was just ridden and going crazy all the time, and I wasn't able to just rest and fall asleep. And then if I did get to sleep, I wasn't able to stay asleep. I'd wake up. So I had a lot of blood sugar things going on. I had hormone swings. I had my stress at different levels. Hey Jade, thanks for joining on. If you guys are joining on, say hi. Where are my manners? I didn't even say join on and say hi. And if you're watching the replay, let me know that too. So sleep became a big issue. And then amidst trying to figure out what was going on with me, because I was having a lot of health symptoms, I had my pineal gland looked at to make sure there wasn't any growths on there. And it came back without growth, but it also came back calcified. So a lot of the problem could have been contributed to the fact that it had calcified, because when it calcifies, you don't make your own melatonin, which is the agent that helps you sleep that your body naturally produces. So I started to work on an evening routine, because doing some research, I learned that there were things I could do that I could control while I was just trying to calm my body down, because I really believe I was in quite an anxious state enough, just at a high stress level, a high emotional stress level, that I needed to bring that down. So I had really started implementing meditating, and I enjoyed it more in the evening time, and it was easier for me to kind of listen to a guided meditation and go to sleep. So before I would do that, I would take a nice warm bath. I've always enjoyed Epsom salt baths. Started adding lavender to it. and just kind of soaking and letting that soak into my bones, but not getting so overheated that I couldn't sleep later. So that finding that fine-tuned line, right? And then turning off all the screens. And so I turned off all the bright light, all the TV light, my telephone. It's really tempting to be on there and just kind of catch up with social media. But I started to implement taking that away an hour or so before I went to bed, so I can really get my eyes focused, my brain shut down, because that light, when lights are on around us and we're up at night, our brain thinks we're still awake. So it's really important to kind of set the tone so it can come down and get into its circadian rhythm and get us ready and prepared for sleep. So I would take my makeup off and wash my face, and you guys, that is a really big thing. My mom used to say, your face will age 3 days if you don't take off your makeup. And I don't know if there's science to that. I will have to look. But I know a lot of people who don't take their makeup off. Take it off. Let your skin heal at night. Your body likes to repair itself. Make the room nice, cool, and dark. And then I would do my meditation, my affirmations, and I started having some gratitude and being grateful and thankful, and ending my day with like 3 things for that day that I was grateful for. And that became my evening routine, and it's something I still do. It's like second nature now. I look forward to that last little hour before bed, just in preparatory time for myself. Then in the morning, I started implementing a routine as well. So let me know, first of all, if you guys do an evening routine, or at least something consistent enough where you feel like it helps you get prepared for sleep, or it helps you get a good night's rest. In the morning, I was feeling a little scrambled. I would check the phone right away. I would get into my email. There'd be a problem at work. And I had to create a boundary for myself. So just recently, this last month or 2, I started just setting that phone aside and not worrying about it for the first 30 minutes of getting up. I would get up, I started making my bed so I could feel like the house was a little bit more put together. I would do a little 5-minute flow or stretch, nothing too elaborate, but just trying to get my body moving. Sometimes my shoulders were really tight, sometimes my hamstrings were really tight, and that was a nice way to kind of start energizing the body, right, before having your first cup of coffee. And then as I'm going through the house, I would just enjoy the day. I'd make a cup of coffee, and then my husband gets up pretty early too, so we kind of decided to sit together and have our first cup of coffee together to kind of have a little bit of conversation time before the crazy of the day starts. And then we would go into the morning routine with the kids. Right now it's summer, so we have a little bit more time to kind of read or just kind of catch up and just chill in our morning. And I've found over time that I really, really, really enjoy it. It's 30 minutes. It doesn't take a big impact into my morning. Right now, my teenagers are asleep or at work anyway, and I find it charges me up for the day without feeling that stress all of a sudden, having to fix, solve, solutionify, find solutions for everything. And then the emails will be there. Work is there. I work from home, so I have to make that separation or it can be constant. So I've just changed things up, and I found that my sleep is better, my energy is better in the morning, my relaxation in my body, that anxiety level is down, so I'm not always having those expectations placed on myself to be, do, or have more. I can just be in the moment and be with my family just a little bit more. So I would like to hear from you guys. When you are watching this replay, let me know if you institute a morning routine. What works for you? Have you tried some of these things? Do you have other things that you do? I know recently one of my mentors had mentioned listening to classical music, and I've been working on, I'm not consistent with it, but I've been working on how that makes me feel. And how that sets tone. So like early in the morning when you're listening to classical music, it can get some of the creativity going in you. So if you have some ideas, or you have writing, or anything you want to journal, spending some time to journal, sometimes that can help get all that flowing and out. So that's it, didn't say journaling, but that happens between night or morning too. So it just depends on what you prefer. Again, you don't have to do all these things. You don't have to do any of these things. But sometimes if you just try changing up your routine and searching for something a little bit different, you can find what impact it has on you. So I hope you find this helpful today. Give me some likes or hearts if you guys do those morning routines or the evening routines. And let me know in the comments below what works for you. Let me know what's resonated with you and if you find this helpful. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night.